The first thing that happened was that I got a call from the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Would I go and see them? They had a project in mind. And this was an orchestra that I hadn't worked with or known before. And I thought, you know, dreams of glory. It was going to be, you know, a series of concerts, Beethoven cycle, Mahler, you know, Bruckner, etc. And so I went down there panting with anticipation to their lovely offices on Doty Street to find that what they asked me to do was to write a piece of the strangest possible makeup, which was a work which would incorporate beginning string students in some way with the actual members of the orchestra of the London Philharmonic.
To find the string students, Carl Davis made the journey across London and along the Mile End Road to Bethnal Green in the East End. There he found the Inner London Education Authority's Tower Hamlets Saturday Centre for Young Musicians.
The school, which is adjacent to Trafalgar Square, of course, is a Victorian school and is constructed around a very large central hall with a gallery of rooms that lead off it. And the first thing that I discovered when I went in was that there was an extraordinary mixture of sounds. There was an enormous amount of activity going on in individual rooms, of which you could hear as you wandered, as you walked through, you could hear practicing and lessons going on of different pieces of music. It was really like the most advanced piece of avant-garde music you could imagine.
Simon Foxley has been the director of the centre since its foundation 5 years ago. All the children who come to this centre started learning their instruments in a unique string teaching project based in the small number of primary schools in which every child in a class has to learn the violin or cello. In the annex of an old primary school not far from the Saturday Centre, teachers for the project are being trained.
That's something you can't do in a large group lesson. We're a large group lesson now. Now you're in your backup lesson and you're going to teach it to each other. But there's one more. No, I don't think we'll confuse.
They are being taught by a remarkable violin teacher, Sheila Nelson. 11 years ago, she was asked by the ILA Music Department to work with their teachers to develop a string teaching project in Tower Hamlets, one of the toughest areas of London. It was aimed at children for whom traditional methods simply did not work, and was based on the group teaching methods that she had successfully used with her own private pupils.
So that you get a rhythm going in your double speed each time. So that what they're looking for then, this doesn't affect cellos, though you can use the same rhythm pattern, of course, for vibrato, but what it does for violin is give them control over the backward and forward movements of their wrist, which is something they will want to add once they've got this balanced arm swinging. See? Okay? Right, so would you like to take your partners, please?
It has been so successful that to date, over 2,000 children have benefited from the scheme. Sheila Nelson now has to spend most of her time teaching teachers. She has many innovative ideas. In this class, she gets students to swap instruments so that they can analyse technique.
But as far as I could see, the problem was your arm was much too far under. It was so far around there, you see. The best place, really, is just hanging down to the floor.
These students will eventually join teams of teachers who move from school to school. If you looked from one of the tower blocks that now characterise the East End, you might see the roofs of Charlton just across the river. In the middle of this South London suburb is Sherrington School. The children start in the string teaching project in the first year of junior school. The lessons are on the timetable, like maths or English.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
To begin with, they do not touch instruments at all. They're given a general music class, which introduces them to the elements of rhythm, pitch and note reading. Laurie Bannister leads the team.
Right, we're going to go around in a circle to my left.
If children haven't played rhythmic games before, they need to learn how to keep a steady pulse and how to just get their physical coordination geared towards doing these things. One of the first things that we start with is just trying to get them to pitch, to hear sounds that are high and low, and to be able to not only recognize them, but start to make them. And this all goes towards singing in tune and being able to listen to hear whether things are in tune or not.
Right, turn around so you can see these stands. Do your favorite thing here. Can you all see
We
these?
do rhythm cards. We use, you can use words to express the length of the notes rather than saying crotchets or quavers. The children pick up note values very quickly by reading the cards, and they seem to enjoy it very much.
Is he right?
Yes.
Yes, he is right. Who can tell me what one of these is? Mark.
Titi.
Is he right? Yes, he is. Okay. Who can tell me what one of these is? Now watch out. Colin.
Ta.
Oh, is he right?
Yes.
He is right. That's a ta. Can we make a ta together? How many beats does a ta get? Samia. Samia said 2 beats. Is she right?
Yes.
Ta. Yes, she is right. Right. Switch your brains on, everyone. I want you to really watch carefully. A 1. Oh, should we make it loud on the first beat? A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Ta. Ti 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 ta.
Once the children have learnt a song, but perhaps they still don't understand the pulse and how to feel the pulse, it's easy to get the words of the song or the rhythm confused with the actual pulse. So we play a game by putting hoops on the floor and having a child step into the hoop on the first beat of each bar. And that is a very difficult thing to do while you're singing.
Ready? And
I think that the general music class is very valuable in learning the violin or the cello because the instruments are so difficult to start with. It's a tremendous head start for when they do get the instruments, they can learn how to hold them and start playing them with a lot of musical understanding straight away. So progress when they actually get the instrument is much faster.
Like any deprived inner city area, Tower Hamlets has severe educational problems. For many people, music has a low priority, but since the introduction of the string teaching project, it's beginning to make headway even here.
Right, first of all, we'll warm up with...
Laura McWilliam is the team leader at Chisenhale School.
We'll start off with a so. Are you ready? And so, mi, go.
These children are in the middle of their second year in the project.
Re, do, do.
I was surprised that you could play the violin at this school. I thought you had to play the violin at secondary schools and colleges. schools like that. I didn't think you learned them at this school. I wanted to learn it because I wanted to show my mum and dad what I could do on it. Well, I thought it was going to be really hard because all the moving fingers and then using the bow, especially learning the notes.
Can you pick up your instruments ready to do a bit of tapping? See if you can get them right up on your shoulder. Just give the violin a little push and get it right up high on your shoulder. And I'd like you to listen very carefully to the rhythm. I'm tapping on my violin. See if you can tap it back to me. 3, 4. Go. T, 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 ta, ta. And again. T, 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 T.
Tapping the violin actually helps to establish a confidence in holding the instrument. It actually helps get a good left-hand position with a nice curve in the left hand and builds up a strength in the fingers.
Fantastic. Can you bend your knees? Are you still loose? Can you flap your wings? Can you waggle your head? No? I thought you could. Yes? No? That's good. Move your shoulders a little bit. Good. Now then, can you point your right hand high in the sky as if you're pointing at some wonderful object in the sky? That's it. I'd like you to come down through outer space and land on D string. And I'd like you to just practice doing a few of these. Have a good look. 1, 2, 3. A few of those.
Basically, the bowing skills are built up very gradually by actually doing very large, exaggerated plucking movements. Then you can incorporate the bow hold and actually doing it with the bow.
Don't forget to swing. And stop.
The most difficult thing for me is holding the bow. I found it hard to hold the bow. I thought when I was going to hold the bow, I thought when I was going to hold it with fingers like that, I thought it would slip through. I thought it was really hard because I thought you'd have to learn all the notes first and you wouldn't be able to, I thought you had to use your fingers straight away and you wouldn't be able to just take your fingers off for a little while. But when I got to start playing it, now I think it's quite easy.
Now then, can you be extra clever and put your little finger on top of the bow? Sit that little finger on top of the wall there. That's it. And then when you're ready, when you think you've got the most perfect bow hold ever, point it towards the sky, and we're going to come down through outer space, and I'd like you to land on the D string. Are you all on the runway? Nobody come off the runway? Jolly good. Right.
I think it's very dangerous at an early age to expect a child to try doing everything simultaneously. And that's why these skills are built up in the correct way, bit by bit.
I like learning with other children in a group. And whichever line they're on, you can see which one, you can see what one they are because you can tell which lines they're on. You can tell what the notes are. Or sometimes if you make a mistake, you can look over, there's people around you and you can look what they're doing and hear what they're playing.
I'd like you to join up the aeroplanes and the rockets by doing this. Have a look. Knees. Knees. You have a go. Okay, listen to the introduction first. Ready, steady, go. Knees. That's it.
I think could become famous or something, because you could, playing concerts in front of people and all that, in front of queens and that.
South of the river in Woolwich, hemmed in by densely populated crumbling housing on one side and industry on the other, is Annandale School. Laurie Bannister is also in charge of the team here.
Well, the class at Annandale have been learning their instruments for 3 years. Long, long ago is the most difficult thing that they've learned so far, because it involves the most number of notes and they're actually reading them off the staff. And they're working at the moment on learning their key signatures and identifying notes by their names as opposed to their fingers.
That's really lovely, well done. That's lovely. Does that make you feel all peaceful inside? Okay, let's have a look at Bow Rock, Jerry.
Bow Rock is a great piece to play. It's good fun. It's not very difficult. It uses different bowing, staccato bowing and legato bowing, so they're getting a little bit of technique and the kids love it. We use finger charts to describe which finger we want the child to use as they're playing a tune. It's a lot easier than actually reading music and deciphering what note is what and what key you're playing in and where the semitones are. So the reason that we use them is to be able to play nice tunes more quickly.
Well done, that's very much better.
We have a group lesson for 1 hour, 1 day a week, and we have a backup lesson is to help cover the technique that we do in the main group lesson.
Slip off and just wave at your bridge. Just waggle a little bit. Watch your arm and watch your elbow and see if you can get the same seesaw movement. That's it. Make sure you keep hanging on that line. Drop your shoulders, Amy and Karen. Now, hold your violin right under your chin and just swing your elbow a bit to see that you're nice and relaxed. And check that your thumb is in the right place. Okay, now touch your second finger on the A string and we're going to try vibrato on a string. So, very lightly, feel that tissue paper sliding under your finger. Very gently, just waggle it a bit. You can go really slow to start with if you like. That's it. Just waggle it a bit. That's lovely. Good girl. Well done. You're all doing a lovely job. That's Natasha. That's okay. Your violin might move a little bit. It's all right. Look.
Do you feel nice?
Does that
Now
feel
let me
stiff
do
or
it.
loose? Does it?
On your own?
It looks just a wee bit stiff.
Lovely.
Here.
Come up
Where
to,
does your thumb
up
go?
so your thumb's in the curve.
That's right.
And
good
try it
girl.
there.
Put your thumb just there. Now,
Let
swing
me do
your
it
elbow to make
first.
nice and soft. And tap
Can
your
you feel
thumb.
your finger rocking
Sit. Now just waggle a little
on the
bit.
string?
Good girl.
Is your arm
That's
aching?
it. Let's see, Natasha. Stop trying. I'll do it for you to start with. That's it. Lovely. Now you take over. Good girl. Are you ready for this?
No.
Here we go. Might sound beautiful. Good girl. That's it. Tap your thumb. Check your thumbs. That's lovely. Try again. Now you can tell when you're tight or loose, can't you?
Yeah.
And what do you need to do when you're tight? If you've gone a bit
Get your
tight,
finger off of it.
take your finger, have a rest, and what else could you do? What could you do with your thumb? Just tap your thumb. What else? Anything to do with your elbow?
Bring it forward.
Just try swinging your elbow like this if you get a bit loose. There's one more thing you could check, and that's your shoulders. Have they gone up? Oh, you haven't got shoulder pads. That was you. Right, let's try again. Do your waggle. Good girl, that's lovely. Oh, that's beautiful. Good girl. That's lovely. Well done. Isn't that good, Madeline? That's really lovely.
Once they have reached a reasonable standard, the children can audition for the Tower Hamlets Saturday Centre. Carl Davis was so impressed with the children, he agreed to write a piece of music for them. And in September 1986, he and 7 members of the London Philharmonic Orchestra joined the children for the first rehearsal. The piece was called Beginners Please.
Repeat. First of all, you must always understand that a composer going to hear a rehearsal or run-through or first performance of a work of his is always in a high state of neurosis, because you simply don't know what you're going to find. You know, did those things you wrote down actually mean anything? Is anyone actually going to be able to play it? And if they do play it, will it make any sense at all? So that you're always a little anxious. And of course, what is it going to be like played by a very large number of children? So there was that. But then at the same time, I suddenly thought, well, this is the first time we have put this together, and that in itself is going to be exciting. And I thought, well, how would they respond to me? Will they be flexible enough to actually be able to cope with somebody else doing it? So the answer was positive. Yes, they could play it with someone else conducting. And so after a while, I forgot about the fact that they were children and I was a professional composer and conductor, and I just got down to it, got to work on it. And I thought they responded very well. Firmer.
stand up.